All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Attack on Titan, Season 3, Episode 8. Oh,
right.
we're gonna get a
Turned into a Titan.
A Titan.
Titan.
A Titanic Titan.
Yeah.
A monstrously large Titan.
Yes. He licked up the spinal fluid and now he has a Titan spine.
Yes. So, and I think the real question is, why did he not want to turn into a Titan in the first place? Because if he's all about control, Rod Rice we're talking about here, but doesn't want himself to be the one that turns into a Titan.
That is an excellent
Is it that
question.
he doesn't want to have essentially the memories / kind of perspective view of the king / god or whatever?
It could also just be that they look gross.
Or it could be about some kind of loss of humanity or something, or some kind of like just actual like negative that comes into play there from being a Titan.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that it's probably that he just wants to be able to move more freely amongst the humans and stuff. But we're gonna get some action, and Kenny is still alive, so I'm holding out that like he's gonna be like a bigger character in the grander story of things, because I like that he's this third party involved in things, and he doesn't just like look on with things and think, I have to get involved. He's kind of like, yeah, this is the good stuff, let's go. Yeah. So I like it. And now we have the scouts. They have to kind of figure out how to get into this chamber here, since there's a big net in the way.
Right, and deal with the whole situation that will be inside. Yeah.
So it's gonna be crazy, guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. So will the Titan basically provide a distraction for them to get through?
Who knows? I mean,
yeah. And Kenny's just like, nope. This is the rapid expansion of mass and heat and yep. Here we go. Oh, nice. Go.
お前たちはハンジを外へ連れ出せ。もういいヒストリア。レイスケが巨人になったんなら俺がこのまま食われちまえばいい。お前は逃げろ。嫌だ。人類の敵だけどエレンの味方。いい子にもなれないし神様にもなりたくない。でも自分なんかいらないなんて言って泣いてる人がいたらそんなことないよって伝えに行きたい。
Oh, dang! Whoa!
yeah.
Mikasa is so smooth!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Oh man! Yeah. Oh! Yeah, I think so too!
He's a big boy!
Holy crap.
Yeah, no.
Oh. Yeah.
てめえ一回だって自分の力一つでなんとかできたことあったがよ。
弱気だな。初めてってわけじゃねえだろこんなの。別に慣れたかねえんだ。
Sasha being the voice of reason. Yeah.
さすがに厳しいけど。ナイド、お前にばかりすまなく思うが、エレン、好きな方を選べ。
Let's risk it all.
See you grit those teeth.
Yeah.
ごめんなさい。最後に一度だけ許してほしい。自分を信じること。
Is this gonna be a new form for his Titan then? Because he said armor. Oh, what? Oh my gosh. Oh! Oh crap. Oh crap. They're dead. Whoa. Oh, Armin, you guys gotta go.
Yeah.
This whole place is gonna just collapse.
Not that way.
Okay. Let's get a plan in place, you smart people over here. Oh my god. What? Oh yeah, this is the time for 3D,
reinforcements coming in.
Twice as big! Twice as big! Yeah, Suzume! Oh. Whoa, what a shot. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Things are getting crazy.
お前は一瞬でこれだけのものを発想して作り出したんだ。まあ構造自体はデタラメだが、実際あの壁もこうして立ったんだろう。これでウォールマリアの穴を塞ぐことが可能になった。ウォールマリアの奪還。そうすればうちの地下室を調べられる。エレン、無事だったか。おかげでみんな助かりました。でも正直言うと、あなたが泣きわめきながら気持ち悪い走り方で飛び出したあの瞬間は、もうこれはダメ。おいだおい、ベソベソしてから。
The quotes.
おい。行くぞ。
Yeah, it's just kind of carving its own swath of destruction. Holy crap. Jeez.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
This is what manga readers like to call the turkey type.
みんな無事か。ハンジのみ負傷だ。大使には至ってないようだ。
Nothing too serious.
よくやってくれ。報告することは5万とある。
What a choice of shots to have him say that.
ロッドレースだ。あのクソでかいのをそこまで進ませるってことか。正確にはオルブドクだ。奴の進路はおそらくそこに向かっている。
Okay. Good lord, that thing is just disgusting. It can't even stand up.
Yep.
つまりまだ選択肢は残されています。
A loose
これをあ
option.
の巨人に食わせれば、
Eh.
ロトレースは人間に戻ります。
そんな。
そうみてえだな。お前はそういう覚悟はできている。
Don't you think people would have tried that in the past? Like, that seems like the dumbest obvious plan. Like,
まず今のやり方にはいくつか問
thank
題
you,
があります。
thank you.
むしろあの破滅的な平和思想の持ち主から始祖の巨人の力を取り上げている今の状態こそ人類にとって千載一遇の好機なんです。
みんなを救いたいなら、お前はこの力を支配しな
And
くて
that's
は
the
な
thing
らない。
that also is kind of the big twist is that he's saying you must learn to control this, meaning that there is a potential that Eren could use it even though he's not a Rice family member.
そう、レイスケの血がなくても。
いいのかいヒストリア。用のない巨人を壁の中で自由に散歩させてあげるわけにはいかない。
You don't say,
あの
Hanji!
サイズじゃ工作も無理だろう。君のお父さんを殺すほかなくなる。
ごめんなさい。礼拝堂の地下で私は巨人になったあなたを殺そうと本気
Oh,
で
she's
思った。
apologizing for that?
お父さんが間違ってないって信じたかった。お父さんに嫌われたくなかった。でももうお別れしないと。
It's
Two
time
things
to
we
say
love.
goodbye.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they might actually have to do is let it hit the wall.
お前にやってもらう
Eren
ことだ。
goes and uses hardening to.
この戦いが終わったら、お前は正当な王位継承
Yes,
者
that's a good point.
女王になれ。
Hey, Queen Historia.
女王様、
You know it. Who
クーデター
else?
は成功したが、兵団がトップに立っても民衆は従わない。
兵長、
Oh,
さっ
Connie.
きヒストリアが言ってたと思うんですけど、父親と別れて面倒なしがらみから抜け出せるという。
Yeah.
Oh, he's being a good guy. He's like,
つまり
コニーが言いたいのはヒストリアはようやくレイス家から離れて自分を取り戻したわけで
It's still her choice, though.
お式生の役目を与えるのはつまりかわいそうかと。
わかりました。了解しました。
ヒストリア。
Armin's like, I think I might be
心
in
配して
love.
くれてありがとう。でもお式生にするかどうかは
yes.
結局自分次第なんだって。
It's very important.
そう。
Alright.
兵長、一つだけ条件が。自分の運命に自分で決着をつけさせてください。
Oh, the battle plan? Oh, just her being involved in the actual mission to stop
女王になったら
Rod.
一秒殴ってやればいい。
ロッドレイス巨人の現在の位置が分かりました。オルブド区の南西を進行中。やはり夜明け頃にオルブド区に到達。副案を聞かせてもらおう。
Yeah, we all would, like,
どうやって住人を避難させるつもりだ。
evacuate. Yeah, what is that? Okay.
The Turkey Titan.
So, okay, you call it the Turkey Titan?
The Turkey Titan.
Now, the reason for this is because of the way it moves.
Well, it's the way it moves, but also just the way it looks like when it's set up. It's like a big turkey, you know, like a big Thanksgiving turkey, you know. Like.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Y'all have some funny names you come up with these things, but I think the main point to bring up here is that this is not a smart Titan.
No,
He just naturally turned into a Titan.
Right.
And maybe, guys, here's something curious to think about. The correlation between the size and strength of the Titans might be due to maybe their connection to powerful bloodlines like the Rice bloodlines. So
Bertolt is actually like.
well, no, Bertolt is a shifter though. He's he's like like he's like Eren and Reiner.
Gotcha.
And all them and stuff.
Okay, I'll just say no. Rod mentioned this is for a particularly powerful Titan.
Okay, so there's so many different things going on here.
That's okay.
It just seems that like they have injections that'll just make people turn into random Titans, or maybe they're not random. Maybe there is some kind of correlation, but it's not really relevant now. But it's that then they also have Titan shifters and special Titans.
Well, so there's you know they don't know everything about all this stuff.
Okay.
But
okay.
What I've basically like there because there's some speculation because they don't explain everything exactly of this for this and blah blah blah. So in this case, the theory is that it's because it wasn't injected.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh, interesting. Maybe then that's some way that they will actually be able to defeat the Titan, is that it's just going to give out under its own.
I mean, possibly it can't walk.
It can't walk, but the thing is like, where does the Titan gain its energy from? Like, is it within itself? Is that
where do any Titans gain their energy from?
Well, that's something that they theorize that it's the sun. That's why when it's dark out, they don't move and stuff. This one is dark out and it's moving.
Right.
So I think that there's a very good possibility that it will be stronger when dawn hits, but maybe in this moment of darkness, they'll be able to, do something to it.
Darkness imprisoning me.
Yeah. Anyways,
so
a lot of good conversation talking here.
Yep.
An impressive spectacle of the Turkey Titan.
Yeah.
And Eren having that little armor capsule thing there.
Yep.
Please tell me, where did that come from?
The idea was that it was from the bag that Historia grabbed that had stuff in it that was Rod's bag, and the bag went everywhere and stuff because of the concussive forces of everything. But that vial basically was stuck up against the wall.
Okay, so this is probably a good thing to bring up then, is that there are people who've had knowledge of Titans and how they generally work for a while, to where they've begun to kind of break down and disassemble the different aspects of the Titans themselves.
In order to be able to make things like an armor capsule.
There's an armor capsule and all that. Yep. That's the kind of thing where now I'm like, oh, now I know what they can kind of find in Eren's basement. Eren's dad's basement.
It's like could be like gun capsules. This adds cannons to your Titan.
Or just things that he's stolen. Things that he's taken.
Just his treasure trove where he
and maybe he's done his own studying and stuff.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, he was a doctor, so it would make sense if he was like, okay, I got this thing. Let's see if I can understand.
Here's something pretty disturbing, but like, who's to say that he never kidnapped someone and disassembled them in the basement? And there's no proof. There's no showing there that it's like, oh, this came from people. But anyone with knowledge of Titans would go, oh, there was a body in here at some point.
He actually has like a tunnel from the basement to like out somewhere in the woods where he like brings them in from. So he doesn't have to like walk into the house with a duffel like a body on his shoulder and just be like, Carla, Eren, just go over there real quick.
Or no, he just waits till they're all out in the market, and he's like, no one come home for another 6 hours. I'm going to be fumigating the house. I've got some work to do. The basement, it's going to stink up the place and stuff.
We had do some shopping. We had some pests in the house. And
someone screaming downstairs, torturing them or something. But I think what they're trying to set up now is kind of the next stage of a character with information. So Grisha Yeager knew what he was doing, and this is something that I think was relatively plain. It was something where Eren's emotions got the better of him to where he wasn't able to reject what Rod was saying forthright, which is funny because that's usually Eren's response to things like that. So it felt a little bit odd that he believed Rod so easily, except for the fact that Rod and Historia both touched him, relaying the memories. So on some level, there could have been, I don't think there was manipulation directly through that.
Oh, like mind control type stuff?
No, nothing like that. But I meant like just them revealing specific memories.
Oh, sure.
And making it seem more like it works in their favor. I don't think it really matters. I think the gist of it is that explains why Eren suddenly believed all this stuff. Sure. But then all he needed was some time to cool down and think about it with Historia.
Remember things his dad said.
And the idea that he could learn to control this and save everyone makes me think that Grisha knew what he was talking about, but also Rod's lying. Rod's very much lying.
Or doing half-truths or,
things like that. That's the same thing, basically, in this case, when you're dealing with stuff this big and this important. If he's intentionally withholding information to make his side seem a little bit more favorable, that's deception of the highest order. So if Eren has some way of moving along a progression of things towards being able to handle the founding Titans' powers, I say yes, because that shows
that would be fantastic.
Well, not only is it fantastic for the story, it's something where we then can have Eren go back to progressing as a character, not only within himself as a person, but as a Titan. And that's something that I think I prefer over him randomly just... I'm sure that we're going to find out how everything was kind of built up a specific way to be revealed a specific way. But Eren just utilizing different powers and stuff, without as much kind of progression build up towards it, feels less earned. So I don't get as hyped when I see him do the armor thing and stuff, because it's like, okay, cool, he grabbed a capsule and now this is a thing.
Right, but it was something where he wasn't having some character moment specifically at the time that he transformed. Right. So there isn't as much oomph behind it.
Yeah, like the moment where Eren couldn't lift the rock to plug up the hole in Trost District,
or when he got buried in debris and he couldn't turn into a Titan, but he needs to fight Annie, and then he manages to do it.
Exactly. I'm mostly able to accept this as this is just the pace that the show is at now, so we're not going to have moments like that much anymore.
Well, there's also the fact that this was a different kind of like, because Eren still was having a moment, but it was a different kind of moment, because usually like it's almost a joke that Eren's sort of this rage monster of kill Titans, you know, Titans are my trigger and all that stuff.
Well, also he has a little bit of the joke of just shut up and get in the goddamn Titan, Eren, which is because he's crying about something and you know he's not able to do that.
Right.
And I don't really subscribe to either of those kind of viewpoints with Eren. Eren is just a character that's kind of confused and in a messy situation and just doesn't know how to react to it.
And this is another instance of them showing that, probably more so than the other times that he's had issues with things in general.
Well, we just get a little bit more internal insight into why he's thinking things a certain way. We didn't hear any of really the understanding. Basically, he just kind of parroted what Rod said regarding, oh, my father, you know, was a horrible person. He made a mistake and he did all these things. So now I have to die. Like, I have to do this. And you believed it not because of what he was saying, but because of how he was saying it. And I think that that's where Eren as a character really kind of sells who he is.
Okay.
Is that he believes almost to a fault 100% whatever he kind of says or does.
Sure.
And when he's not doing anything, that's how you know he's doubting himself.
Right.
Is because he's not moving, he's not acting.
Yep.
And that's a perfect way to showcase I would say a generally speaking pretty simple character, is that if he believes in something, he's going to go after it and do it 100%. He's going to say it, he's going to echo it.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, he's going to fall victim to a little bit of emotional type paralysis of just, I don't know what to do. There's nothing that seems like the right choice here. And I like having Historia really kind of guiding the, I would say not the mission, but just kind of the,
yeah, she's saying some helpful things.
Well, no, not she's just. I mean, yes. Sorry, I'm trying to communicate what I'm trying to say here is that Historia has the strongest desire in all of these scenes. No one else wants something more than she does.
Yeah.
And the thing is
definitely
that
been giving her some good focus.
It's agency. That's what it is. It's agency. And
gotcha.
what it is that all the other characters are unfortunately in a state of less agency.
Right, and they're helping everything else along, but they're not the ones making the decisions.
They're not the ones making the decisions, and I'm kind of excited about what happens after this Titan is defeated, because they can't really have the story exist with this Titan in it. This Titan needs to go. Yeah. Like, on some level, I'm thinking about this in a little bit of a meta way. I do not see how Erwin, short of some really ridiculous plan, could actually solve this. I like my idea of, they just showed the armoring stuff being used. Let's encase this Titan. Let's make a big freaking like armored cocoon around it.
That would need to be big. And here's the thing.
You just put it around the front part and the head. It'll just fall down and won't be able to get back up.
Sure, possibly.
And then they just keep doing it slowly but surely over
time. This thing is huge.
Right, I know.
Like or they're worried about it destroying the walls, and
screw the walls. Who cares about the walls at this point? This is what maybe they could do. Let's let Eren get to the top of Walsina, right?
Yeah.
He's on top. He transforms into a Titan on top of the wall. Now balance yourself, Eren. You need to jump right on top of the neck of this Titan and just destroy.
No, what they really need to do is they need to make a massive Titan-sized sword that Eren can use to go on top of it and just start cutting out the nape.
Yeah,
that's
this is how ridiculous, like, our ideas. This is how ridiculous the plan needs to be.
How do you deal with something like this?
I think you just slow it down, or just hope the wall kind of contains it. I don't know.
Yeah, let's group up all the cannons and fire at it.
Yeah.
Look at all that did.
Yeah. It does have to be Eren, though. It kind of does.
Well, yeah, he's the only one that's thinking about close to the right scale.
Well, I'm just thinking about the Scout's swords. They just do nothing here. They're paper cuts. Yeah, I'm sorry, Eren. You're going to have to do something crazy. Yeah. And I like my jumping off the wall thing. I like the hardening. idea, but it is going to be ridiculous. But
hey, he uses the hardening to make a spike.
I like that. That could be your sword idea. That's pretty cool. I know that on some level you're probably not going to give me the actual thing because you know what's coming next. So you have to be kind of careful about not giving me actual hints. But I to be fair, I really don't find the solving of this Titan to be as interesting as actually what comes afterwards.
Right, yeah.
Because
like the whole mentioning of like, oh, now we can plug up Wall Maria. We go to Shigen Shina and plug up Wall Maria. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's way more interesting because let me tell you, like the agency of a lot of the characters will come into play at that kind of mission of sorts.
I mean, it's not like it's relevant to like, where they grew up or anything. No, it's not like there's been a plot point about the basement that, has been sitting around forever.
No, it involves them acting though. Everything, like for the most part, the revolution was probably the most agency that the characters, like the protagonists, have had in this kind of arc. And a lot of it has been other characters that have come out and started doing things they have to react to quickly.
It was not the kids, it was the military people, Yeah.
So if they end up going to Shiganshina and they're like, this is kind of a do or die mission because we don't know what's out there anymore. It's been so long, we're just going to make a beeline specifically there. We probably won't encounter many Titans because we can just travel at night. And with horses, they probably could go a large way to making it there if they struck out from Walrose. So I'm just saying, like, this could be like it, where they make the mission all about just getting to the basement. I brought up the Beast Titan earlier. I do think the Beast Titan's little end of season 2 moment is foreshadowing that he's somewhere out there beyond or at one of the walls.
Just roaming around and...
Well, no. When they showed him last, he was coming out of his form and he was at one of the walls. It looked like he was at one of the walls. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just it looks like he's at one of the walls because he's just so high up on top of the Beast Titan.
He was on top of the Beast Titan. The wall thing was Reiner and Bertolt and Ymir.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe I'm wrong.
I think so. I could be wrong because it's been
I
a
just
while
don't
since
think he had
2.
he had any real like mission that he succeeded with and did the last time he was here. It looked like he was just kind of exploring and testing things around, but we don't know where he went after that.
Okay.
I think that if he is here for any kind of a Reiner Bertolt related mission of sorts, with Annie and all them, he's like someone that they'd like never see out in the field. That's why they were freaking out about like, who is he?
Right.
And I think that if he's out here for any like specific reason, he's probably just a kind of a deterrent to make sure that, I don't know, that they don't go and just have free reign to do whatever they want. Or maybe he's just making more Titans. I don't know. I just feel like if they wanted to make things really interesting, have them do a split storyline bit where Historia needs to stay here with a group of people and be queen and maintain order, and also start preparing humanity for probably the grander conflict as they, I think this is almost about here, as they go exploring. Like they go and send people like far out.
Like back where they were sending people out at the beginning of the show.
Past Wall Maria.
Right, yeah, because that's...
Yeah, exactly. We do end up seeing Eren in the very beginning of this season standing on like a beach or something.
It's true.
So that has to happen at some point.
Yeah, which would mean definitely going past Wall Maria.
Going past Wall Maria, because they don't even know that saltwater ocean sea exists.
That was all just legends and myths and stuff.
So I'm in love with this massive 3D monstrosity Titan.
Oh yeah,
that's just so ridiculously huge and impractical to move or even attack.
Grotesquely, just what is that thing? But
I love that it's so big. Its head can't be lifted up, so it's just dragging its face in the dirt. There's all these little details that kind of remind you, oh yeah, the physics of the Titans make no sense. But when it gets ridiculous, they're like, no, we have some physics in right here. It's
exactly.
Like,
we have physics resistance, but not physics immunity. You know?
Yeah, totally. Anything specific about the characters in this episode that you want to call out and talk about?
Mikasa's save
Mr.
with Historia, like
Savior Girl, basically.
That was awesome.
She just kind of teleported there. It was just like, whew, it was so smooth.
Yeah.
And
like, I almost expected it to be something where Historia's looking up and like blushing, like, you know.
Mikasa. Like, don't say anything. It's like, oh, okay. Shh, you're injured.
Yeah.
That was sweet. But on a serious note, but like any character big moments that you.
Well, there's just the fact that, like, what happened to Kenny's squad and Kenny?
Oh, Kenny. I think Kenny's alive.
Because unless you have a head on a spike and a bulletproof glass case.
Well, no. We didn't see him get injured. We didn't see him actually get hurt. We saw the girl, though, that was his number 2, get hit by some fallen debris.
And then fall.
She's down. And then there was someone else who was like, oh, no, you... And it's crushed as well. So... I think that the first interior squad might be done. There's probably a couple of them that survived with Kenny, but I'm imagining kind of a Tai Lung situation where Kenny would have to use ODM gear through falling debris and like winding himself up,
which would be,
and then
which
like
would be
launching himself
ridiculous.
out to some kind of tree and then hitting that and then landing there and watching as this whole thing happened and stuff. I could see a couple people getting out of that, but it's so ridiculous that it's probably better that you don't show it, and then we can just see him at some point in the future.
Sure.
If Kenny died, I would be sad because I feel like his character has a lot of potential, given that he's connected to not only Levi, but to a lot of the older important people that did
all
things
old
behind.
People know each other, don't you know that?
Well, specifically these secret society folk, like the Rice family and stuff. Like Kenny could be really useful to the good guys, to those that are the enemies of humanity. Okay, This is something that I realized that Attack on Titan has been doing recently. Is they've been using verbiage. Now, I don't know, tell me if in the manga it does this, but they've been using verbiage that's, I would say, specifically a little bit of they phrase it in such a way that's kind of a buzzword to make you realize, this is important. But what they really just mean is we're enemies of the governmental state of most areas of humanity. Yeah, they're not actually saying they're enemies of the human race.
Right, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, remember, these are teenagers, right? So Historia will say, I'm the enemy of humanity and all that stuff. And, you know, it's like, okay, she's not actually taking that
a lot of hyperbole
extreme.
there.
Yeah, a lot of hyperbole. All the hyperbole, in fact.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it's like, okay, actually being an enemy of all of humanity. You sure? Or how much of this is like the teenage rebellious phase?
Or just kind of the rage, just the indignation at having all this happen.
A lot of people have pissed me off and treated me like crap. Yeah.
So I'm going to fight back.
Yep.
I like that aspect because, again, it gives her agency. I cringe every once in a while at some
because
of the dialogue
they say like a little bit too much
and the verbiage.
Know?
It feels like the mangaka's writing. Like it feels like something that was written rather than spoken. If that makes sense.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think it's missing. Like I'm missing the communication aspect of it. I feel like I get what's intended. It just pulls me out of the immersion every once in a while.
I get that. One of the other things that I thought was just a great moment there, because you can look at it multiple ways, is when Erwin comes up and he's like, oh, what's happening? You know, any casualties? Oh, Hanji's the only casualty. He looks at her, she's covered in blood. He's like, oh, that's no big deal. Like,
This is from the guy that
got his arm bitten off.
Yeah, charged into a.
Don't worry about me, just go.
Yeah, charged into a group of Titans, got his arm bitten off, continued to tell everyone to charge, got himself freed from that Titan with the help of some other scout, then got back on his horse, rode over to the armored Titan, threw all the other Titans, launched himself up there, sliced Bertolt across the chest, dropped it down from that height onto his horse without using ODM gear, survived the crotch landing on that.
No, I think he used ODM gear, but the thing is he has one arm, so he can only get push pull, anyways,
it's ridiculous, but it's funny because Erwin is such a master of impossibilities that him saying it's no big deal. It's all easy for you to say Mr. Eyebrows can do anything to save humanity. He's ridiculous.
Erwin's just amazing. I love him.
Erwin's
so
great. I do feel like Hanji getting hurt here was kind of the reminder that, hey, our people are mortal. These are human beings.
Yeah.
And we have had scares like this in the past, like with Erwin.
Sure.
But I do feel like because this is a 25 episode season, we're going to see some character deaths. And I do feel like Hanji is actually now safe for a while because
of the scare.
Hurt. Yeah. But there are other people who we should basically just watch out for death flags. Not in this Titan fight. Not in this Titan.
Sure, because it's not even going to attack people.
No. If anything, I'm just worried about civilians and stuff.
Right.
Things can get kind of crazy. Also, I mentioned this earlier, and I think we talked about this a little bit, but I want to go a little bit more in depth. The themes of Attack on Titan are being called back in the pre-current situation events. So we had I admit that I forget kind of the timeline things, but there was the raid that Grisha Yeager had on the Rice church whatever place. When he was there, he was basically being the person that, at least I think he was alone. The way they told the stories,
told it and shown it, and stuff,
exactly,
and the memories and all that.
Yeah, so if he goes and does this, he is so desperate.
Yeah.
Think about this.
Oh, yeah.
He's so desperate that he risks the value that he has, independently.
Yep. Oh, yeah. This was an all or nothing.
All or nothing.
Yeah.
He succeeds so dramatically, against, in some ways, all odds.
Yep.
To actually do all this, ends up bringing his findings, at least, the important one, back to Eren. Doesn't give it to himself for whatever reason. I think that there's probably going to be some element of plot as to why he gave it to Eren and not himself.
Because he knew, they knew his face or something like that, and they could find him, or
way bigger plot reasons. Because let's think about this. This is something that I think that the episode told us by saying, no, Eren, don't think of your father that way. Your father gave all of us the opportunity to even make a choice and be free of the first king. So it's okay. I think the show is trying to tell us, no, Grisha Yeager was a good guy. He was doing the right thing. It's always the right thing to give humanity the choice of freedom in this world.
Yeah.
There are consequences that come from that that are really bad, but I think that the story is trying to tell us that that is important.
Okay.
Anytime someone makes that choice, the consequences are always worth it.
Gotcha.
Because you're giving more freedom to the sum total of humanity.
So what are you getting at?
I'm getting at that Grisha should have given it to himself if there is some kind of you will learn how to control this power, or hopefully you will learn how to. So I think that there's potentially something to do with why he gave it to Eren, not him. It also ties in a little bit well with the lineage aspect of the Rice whole family thing, of passing on the power to the younger at the expense of the elder basically being I guess eaten in this case.
Yes.
So it's a sacrificing yourself for the sake of humanity. It's doing a risky thing that at great risk for yourself for the sake of humanity's freedom.
Yeah.
It's also instilling, in some ways, a little bit of a mission on the younger to basically do what I could not.
Right.
Take the
baton.
The baton, so to speak, and carry it forward.
Right. Passing on the torch.
And this is something that I've been thinking about ever since we showed that we were shown that first scene in season 3 with Eren at the beach, is that he looks older.
Yes, he does.
He looks just physically older. I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah, a bit of the longer hair.
Longer the hair.
Taller. Yeah.
We didn't see his face. I'll have to go back and check again. I think we might have seen his face. But I think if we did see his...
Pretty sure we did.
Yeah. That was the bigger clue that he looked a lot older.
Right.
Is that on some level, this whole story about it being in the past, you know? Like going back to the very first episode.
Yeah. The idea
episode.
that if that's in the future, then that means what we're doing right now is in the past.
Right. So this whole story is about passing on the choice. Like my whole thing, they're making fun of the whole, oh no, this is going Ava thing. It's like, okay, like hold on. Let's think about what Attack on Titan is about, not how to compare it to other shows. With what Attack on Titan is about, it's about, I would say it's about freedom, but it's also about the consequences that come from seeking after freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet there are people that are, I would say, powerful forces of inspiring freedom or aspects of humanity in others.
Yeah, what does it mean to really live, and if you're just in a cage and all that stuff. And
and I think that that's what Eren's arc is going to be. Eren's arc is going to be about eventually giving up himself for the sake of humanity, and it will be that he will have gone through all this crazy stuff, and once basically all this is said and done, the story won't have to necessarily then end. I was just thinking of a way for a crazy ending without actually having a solid like.
So they do like a Mass Effect style like time skip after the ending, and it's like, do you remember the story of Eren Yeager?
Well, basically that there will always be ways in which humanity will need to grow and be more free. Like, can humanity ever truly be free? And the answer is probably a mixed bag of, well, not
once we
not
get
exactly.
to space, then we can talk, and then we can
yeah, and I don't think the story is ever going to go there.
Yeah,
that's why
it isn't made by Studio Trigger. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't think that the going big and crazy thing is more of what this is about. I think this is going to go more and more deeper into the human stuff. And I think that Grisha...
Attack on Titan does that very well.
Yeah, and I think that Grisha is the tie to that.
Okay.
Is that his story, from what we know so far, is a very simple, I would say, sacrifice for love and freedom story.
Sure.
And the thing is, that needs to be unveiled. And I think that the one thing that has an actual tie to that is the basement. In that we need to go there and not just get maybe some reveals about the Titans. We need to know more about what was his reasoning. How did he know to go to the Rice estate? How, like,
hope there's like some sort of like a journal there or something like that where it's like, today I'm gonna do my strike. You know?
I think about it like Scar's brother. I want the alchemist research notes that will take time to decipher.
Right, because he's a doctor, so if he was if he had sight and stuff down there, he was experimenting on it, he'd have notes and stuff.
And it could be a cool thing where it was left there for his son.
Sure.
Basically a thing of like, like this is the next step in my lineage gift to you. What are you laughing about?
So I'm just imagining, it's like, I left all this stuff for my son. And then there's a note on top of all his lab notes. By the way, I know that you're not the most academically inclined and wouldn't be able to make heads or tail of half of this, so make sure you have your friend Armin with you.
Hey, you know what? Like, maybe it's not like in some kind of crazy code. Yeah, maybe.
No, I'm not talking about crazy code. I'm just talking about like if there is research
just reading.
Stuff, reading. like medical things. Crap, I didn't get to my biology classes or whatever. Because,
oh my gosh, that's funny. I do think though that Grisha might not have left things in a perfect state. That's why I don't think the basement is going to be this changes everything thing. It's going to be just that next step.
Right.
And it's going to be kind of a disheartening thing, I think, in some way, because
you want everything to be solved there, but it's like, well, Grisha didn't know the wall was going to come down and he'd never go back to his home again. So
he's not, he's
like, yeah, I'll make it a point to do that. And he's like, puts it on the little checklist. Okay.
Yeah. This is actually something I'm now curious about. I realize that a lot of this discussion isn't focused specifically on this episode, but I kind of want to delve a little bit more into whatever they've given us with Grisha. Did they say specifically what happened to the founding Titan when Grisha came? Like, how did he steal it again? Remind me.
So it was passed on to Historia's sister.
Right. It was Frida.
Yeah.
Frida, right.
And she had just, she was new with the Titan.
Right.
So she didn't know how to use it.
So they fought.
And he beat her.
Because
she didn't know how to use it.
But he ate her?
Yeah.
So that means that Grisha did have the founding Titan.
Yeah.
And he chose to pass it on.
Yeah.
That makes it even bigger, guys. That was the thing I'm like, I need to confirm this.
So you think it was like a bloodline thing?
Well, I'm just like, why, if he had it, was his goal then to pass it on? Like,
well, yeah.
Like, is it a thing of him just realizing, like, I can't make heads or tails out of this, I'll just leave it to the next generation. Like, why did he have it? I get
that's why he had it.
No, I know why he had it. I meant, why did he have it and not be successful with whatever his goal was after that?
Because bloodline.
I get that. But then why does he think that passing it on to Eren
will
make anything any difference? Yeah.
Maybe him and Historia need to get busy. Who knows? And pass it on to their kid.
Sure, maybe we're gonna find out that sex is actually the key to things here. This whole thing was basically held back because the Titans could never have sex with each other.
Attack on Titan has secretly been a hentai this entire time.
No, it's going to build up to a hentai.
Yes.
Where there's going to be two perfect being Titans, and they'll just, All right, guys, this has been a bit ridiculous, but this has been an interesting episode. Like, this episode, I think is probably like the one breather episode we're getting actually before like all kinds of crazy stuff goes down.
Which is kind of hard to think of.
It's kind of hard to think about because this had a freaking like monster Titan, but it does feel a little bit like a breather episode,
because it's
doesn't
like,
it?
Okay, we don't have to worry about it attacking us, but
we got 6 hours.
We've got 6 hours. But basically, we this feels like when you're playing like Rise of Nations or something, and you have like a nuke countdown clock, and you're just like, okay, we need to keep an eye on that, but it's not a problem just yet. So we'll prepare.
And then Caleb launches all the nukes, and I'm like, Armageddon, this is all over now. Ha ha, you die, Jacob. Yeah, we played random RTSs.
Yeah.
All our lives, basically.
Pretty much. That was the story of us.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to watch full-length reaction for this episode of Attack on Titan, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get into our Discord to chat with us about...
I am in the spoiler section for the manga.
Yes, so you can talk with him about Attack on Titan manga-related stuff. You can talk with me about live anime-related stuff there. Of course, no spoilers for the manga. Or you can just talk about general story stuff, or ask Jake about his book, or talk about the Discord events that are coming up, which are going to be pretty fun, And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.